And ladies and gentlemen, my name is Arcane Static and welcome to Mangabites, the show where we take new manga that have just come out in Japan and condense them into digestible bite-sized summaries, and then read them back to you before they're available in English. Most of the time. Now you too can keep up with the cool kids. All art and illustrations are owned by their respective owners, and any changes made to the panel shown are to prevent copyright infringement. Please buy these comics when they are released in your country so that I don't get in trouble with publishers. Since I started covering the new Cardcaptor Sakura The Clear Cards saga, I got a hankering for more Magical Girl series. This one, however, is a sort of different take on the genre, where the main character actually learns how to use magic as a student, and doesn't just suddenly know how to use the magic that she suddenly inexplicably has. Let's dive right into Volume 1 of Atelier of Witch Hat, Tongari Boshi no Atelier. Are athletes born to be athletes? What about astronauts? Nobody knows when they're born. So then, what about magicians? We join our heroine Coco as she washes some stuff in the local spring, where she apologizes to deer drinking the water. But not to worry, the spring has magic cast on it to always be clean no matter what. Later, she sits on the roof of her house with a mysterious book and laments that she wasn't born to be a magician amidst her imagination running wild. Up in the sky, she sees a flying carriage approaching, and her spirits immediately leap up. Three ladies alight from the carriage, and Coco is ecstatic to see them. But there's another garishly dressed man as well, who says he didn't come from the carriage. He has an order for some fabrics, after which he'd be on his way. Coco asks her mother if she can go look at the carriage after she's done gathering up the things that this gentleman has ordered, and she receives permission. She hurries off to gather all the pieces of the order. Coco begins to mark and cut the fabrics elegantly and speedily, a fact which this gentleman takes notice of, calling it her own special kind of magic. He asks her why she's so interested in the real thing, and she tells him a story from her younger days. During a festival in town, a mysterious man in a magician's hat showed her a picture book on the street, one full of fancy pictures and markings, and offered to sell it to her. Taken by how pretty the magic was, she uses the money her mother gave her to buy fried strawberries and gets the book from the man, who throws in a special magic wand pen for free. She tells her mom about the cool magic and that she wants to be a magician when she grows up too, but her mom shoots her down. You can't be a magician unless you were born a magician. The gentleman muses on the magician selling picture books at a festival by the castle, when suddenly a huge bang is heard from outside. The flying carriage has been damaged by the two boys who were playing with it. The three ladies complain and demand to know who will fix their carriage when this fanciful gentleman offers to fix it. You see, he's a magician. You can tell because of the hat, which he'd forgotten to be wearing. My name is Keithley. I'm a magician. Keithley asks to use the workshop in Coco's house, and then tasks her with the important job of making sure nobody comes in while he's doing the magic. Nobody's allowed to see the magician do what they do. It's the rules. She pouts outside the door and wonders why no one's allowed to see. Those same two troublemaker boys from before climb loudly on the roof, catching Coco's attention. They intend to try to peek in on Keithley as he works, and Coco, rather than trying to stop them, joins along, opening the shutters on the tiny roof window, only to see the curtains are shut. The two boys leave, but Coco remembers another entrance, where she sneaks in and sees what Keithley's working on. A gigantic magic circle drawn with ink and a pen. That's when she realizes. You don't cast magic. You draw it. She manages to escape undiscovered, and as Keithley leaves after fixing the magic circle, her mother sighs, saying that she'd expected her to say she wanted to go off with him. Coco replies strongly, I'll never say I want to be a magician again. I won't leave you alone. That night, though, Coco sits up late in her room and gets the picture book and the pen out, drawing a crude magic circle on some paper by candlelight. As she finishes the circle, the paper floats and glows with radiant magic. Coco loses her composure and freaks out to think she just used magic. She knew that if she was caught doing it, she'd get in trouble, but she couldn't stop. Just one more circle. Keithley, lying by his campfire, recollects the story Coco had told him about the book. With a sudden realization, he sits up straight. No way! Back in her room, Coco has drawn and tested a bunch of magic circles and thinks she's starting to get the hang of it. She concentrates, draws one more circle. Just as the magic begins to take effect, however, arms from the darkness behind her grab her and dash away. It's Keithley! They barely make it out of the magical radius safely. Coco's mother runs out holding a lantern to see what happened, but she's unaware of the magical wave and it crashes over her, turning her to stone. Keithley brings the sobbing girl to his campsite and explains that magicians are not born that way. Anyone can be a magician if they have the right ink and can draw the right components of a circle. That's the very reason they keep it secret. If anyone can use it, then disasters like this one happen. Keithley explains that to make sure that this does not become a problem, he has to erase her memories. The thought then occurs to him, if she learned that magic circle from the picture book and he erases her memories, he'd never be able to chase after the one who gave her the book, because the book is also turned to stone back in her house. He grabs her by the shoulders and asks, "Do you remember what kind of book it was? What page it was on? Anything?" "If I draw that same circle again, can I help my mother?" "If we're going to leave your memories intact so you can help your mother, then this is the only way. Coco, you're going to become a magician from today onwards." Coco awakens in a flying carriage with Keithley overlooking his atelier, and he explains that it's where she'll be studying from now on. Coco laments that she promised she wouldn't leave her mother alone, and now look what's happened. Keithley responds that she's going to need to calm down if she wants to learn how to get her mother back. He hands her a magical water carrier and tells her to go wash her face. Never having messed with such magical equipment before in her life, she's confused and scared of the water carrier, but a friendly voice from the nearby staircase tells her not to be afraid. "My name's Tidia. Want me to show you how to use it?" Coco thanks her, and she replies that she likes being told thank you. Another voice tells Coco that she shouldn't give Tidia too much of this kind of attention. If she gets talking, she'll never shut up. Tidia replies that she was playfully just teaching Coco how to use the water carrier, and to come on, give her a break, Riche. The two girls explain that they're students under Keithley, and Tidia drills Coco with questions. How old is she? Where's she from? What magical house did she come from? Coco responds that she's only just learned about what magic is yesterday, and the two girls go silent for a moment. They ask if she's the girl that they heard rumors about, the one who shouldn't have known about magic, but used forbidden spells without knowing what they were. They're pensive for a moment, but then Keithley returns and interrupts their conversation, and begins to explain the history of magic to Coco. Long ago, magic was something that everyone could use, something much more common. However, because of that, it began to be used in wars, and countless terrible, forbidden magics were created and used on others. So much so that the world's population took a great decrease. The remaining people who knew the workings of magic decided as a whole that it was too dangerous to have just as a common thing anymore, so they stole the memories of magic from the people and entrusted those secrets to a select few who would protect them, the magicians. Coco asks Keithley to teach her all about the forbidden magics. If she doesn't understand what she'd done, then she won't be able to do anything about it. Keithley sighs, leads her down some steps. There's so much forbidden magic that I couldn't teach you all of them in one lifetime, or even several. To put it simply, however, forbidden magic is magic cast directly on the human body. Essentially, magic can be used on objects, but not on people. Objects like the magical window he reveals to Coco, which overlooks a great lake with a tower in the center. That tower contains an almost infinite number of magical books, possibly even the one that Coco used. Coco demands that they go there immediately to look for it, and starts to climb through the window, but Keithley stops her just as a great water dragon rises from the surface of the lake. He closes the window. Only those who have passed the test to become an apprentice are allowed to enter that place. He explains that the magics left out of the forbidden category are only those which make people happy. She can learn as much of that magic as she likes. Shortly after, he shows her to her new room where there's private space for sleeping and stuff, as well as a common area to study and practice. He leaves her alone to do some errands, and Coco looks around the room. That's when Agathe, the third apprentice girl, appears. She's sharing the space with Coco, and she's a bit cold about it. Agathe's been practicing and studying for years, but Coco just gets a free pass into the apprenticeship? No, Agathe won't accept her unless she takes the Magician's Apprentice test. Tomorrow. Later, Titia loans Coco some books about the history and magic culture, where she reads about this apprentice test that Agat mentioned. Keithley reappears to give Coco her set of magical tools. A pen, some magic ink, a branch from a magic tree that can be used like a pencil, a mortar and pestle for components, and a small round journal book to take notes in. Amazed at how cool these tools are, Coco makes a discovery. The magic wand pen that she received from the magician at the festival years ago is the same as the one here. It's almost as if that man wanted her to use forbidden magics. Her first lesson begins, and she learns the components of a spell. The center is the elemental symbol, surrounded by the direction-controlling arrows, encircled completely by the seal. Once the seal is finished, the things in the circle take effect. Keithley applauds her on her ability to understand, and shows her a little bit of water magic to help encourage her. After some difficulties, she manages to draw a circle, but something's not right about it, and it jets water directly into Agat's face, destroying the work that she'd been doing. Coco furiously apologizes, but Agat, with only a tiny murderous glare, takes it coolly and, in front of Keithley, explains why Coco's magic circle behaved poorly. She'd left one of the arrows longer than the others, causing an imbalance in the control. Keithley, satisfied with Agat's helping Coco, runs off to his own affairs, and as soon as he is gone, Agat drops the helpful act. It's test time now. We're starting. Keithley teleports to a tiny island in the sea and begins descending into a secret staircase, one which he skips entirely and jumps down instead. He's caught by a lady, an old friend perhaps, who accosts him for not having visited in a long while, and mentions the rumor of his new apprentice, the normal person. Come now, Alila, do rumors really spread that quickly? He explains that she's not exactly an apprentice yet, as she's not taken the test. It's far too early, and plus, today is the day that the mountain range that the one taking the test has to climb is at its absolute highest. It's much too dangerous to put someone who only learned about magic a day or two ago into that kind of situation. Back at the atelier, Coco expresses her unease at the timing of the test, especially when Keithley's out. Agat coldly replies that no matter when she takes the test, she'll have to do it alone anyway, so what's the difference? After all, Agat took the test when she was 10 and she passed finally. She explains that the proof of passing the test is to gather one flower of the King's Forgiveness plant by climbing to the top of the Dada Mountains alone, with no assistance from anyone. The only tools she can take are her circle drawing tools and other objects that can be found in the house. In this case, it means a water container and a magic compass. Coco asks if she can borrow Agat's shoes, which have a magic circle drawn on them that allows those using them to fly. Agat gives them to Coco without any thought and pushes Coco through the magic window. Just before she closes it, she remarks, "Oh, I forgot to tell you. You can only take this test once in your life. If you fail, you don't get accepted as a magician's apprentice." The window shuts, leaving Coco alone. She turns to look at the testing grounds and sees... No way. That's the Dada Mountains? After some deliberation, she remembers she has the flying shoes. She activates them and shakily ascends to the first floating sphere. When she arrives, she scrambles to grab onto it, but a brushworm scares her, and she falls back into the water down below. She finds that the magic circle on the shoes is ruined, and not only that, but her bag of inks is ruined too. Back at the atelier, Titia asks Agat where Coco went. It's getting close to dinner time soon, and she's not around. Agat informs Titia that Coco's out doing the test. Titia asks Agat if she's crazy, making Coco do something as dangerous as that on the day when everyone knows it's the most dangerous? But Agat calmly responds with a coldly calculated response. There's nothing for anyone to gain by her being here. If she can't pass something so simple as this test, then she doesn't deserve to be here. You know, I hate people who can't do the things I can do. That girl does not deserve to be here like I do. Titia and Rish eat dinner together. Agat doesn't come, and Rish doesn't seem too worried about Coco. Meanwhile, Coco despairs. She wasn't able to repair the magic circle on the shoes, and doesn't know what other kinds of magic she should use in situations like this one. Maybe Agat was right. In a tiny boat with the brushworm as company, she suddenly recalls something Keithley said when they first met. her own kind of magic. She scrambles around for some rocks that would imitate the chalk she used on the fabrics in her mother's shop, and dips the ink-stained cloth bag into the water, producing a working facsimile of a pen. After all, if your tools don't work, find ones that do. With a stroke of ingenuity, she gathers up the fabric from her cape that she had with her and crafts a sail kite, onto which she draws a magic circle. She remembers what Agat told her: if one of the arrows is too long, it'll disrupt the balance of the circle. Well, then what if she only draws one huge arrow? The brushworm scrambles onto her shoulder and she finishes the circle after having worked all night to get it right. Suddenly, the sail rockets into the air, taking Coco with it. She's elated that her idea worked and steers the kite sail toward the top sphere where the King's Forgiveness flowers grow. Keithley arrives back at the atelier, met by a frantic Titia who tells him that Coco went off by herself to do the test. Hurriedly, they open the window, Keithley hoping that she hasn't been hurt or lost or worse. As the window opens, there stands Coco, intact, uninjured, and with a King's Forgiveness flower for Agat. She holds it out to her, but Agat, with a blank, unfeeling look, turns and walks away. Keithley lectures Coco about how it was too dangerous. If she'd taken one wrong step, she'd have been killed, and never do that kind of stunt again. However, it did mean that she'd passed the test, conveniently the thing for which he'd been out preparing. Coco receives the package from Keithley that he'd gotten from his friends. Her own magician's apprentice robes. That witch's hat will watch over you as you do your magic. So long as you wear it, you swear not to use forbidden magics. Outside the window back at the testing grounds, a mysterious magician, the same one who gave Coco the book long ago, watches on. Sometime later, Titia and Coco are studying together. Coco asks Titia to teach her the circle required to fly, and Titia asks why she needs it now, when she just did a sweet wind-controlling spell to fly around all cool-like. Coco replies that she wants to fix Agat's shoes, which she ruined during the test. Keithley comes into the room and announces that Coco's problems with drawing the circles might be partially caused by her pen not being comfortable enough in her hands. To that end, they'll all take a trip to the magician's tool shop in the hidden forest city of Karun. In her amazement, Coco completely misses the history of the town, where no bridges have been built to keep the normal folk out. Agat requests to be let on her own to shop, seeing that Coco will be annoying and take forever if she stays along. When asked by Keithley if there's some trouble there, Coco says she wishes that they could get along a little better. After all, anyone who can draw magic circles so beautifully as Agat must be a good person. Riche offhandedly says that Coco probably shouldn't get her hopes up, for her own good. They enter the magician's tool shop, in the center of which is a great magical tree. Coco is amazed by it, a fact which an old wizard points out as strange. Why wouldn't she know about something so simple as a magical tree? The old man is Noah, the magician who owns the shop and makes all the tools and inks, a jovial and merry old man who offers to show Coco the process of making magical inks from the branches of the magical tree. He gives her a tiny pot of ink to use for testing out pens and brushes, and sends her down to try some out. But on the way down, she sees out the window the mask of that same mysterious magician. She gives chase, and the other three girls go after her, much to Agat's chagrin. They chase the magician down a small alleyway, but something seems off about the surroundings suddenly. The ground is different, the walls are a different kind of stone, the sand on the street is different. Were they transported somewhere? No, there's no way that someone would have used forbidden magic like that. Titia flies up above the buildings around them to get a better look at where they are, and comes back hurriedly. Shit, we are definitely not in Karun, run away! Back at the magical tool shop, Keithley panics. His apprentices are nowhere to be found. He asks Noah, but who answers is Noah's apprentice penmaker, who remarks that they went off chasing a magician with a strange mask. Keithley's face pales. Back with the four girls, the mysterious magician sits watching them from far away as the dragon comes nearer. I didn't have any use for the other girls, but that's not important. Welcome to the world of magic, Coco. You are our hope. Well, that'll do it for the first volume of Atelier of Witch Hat. The next volume of this one should be coming out early in the summer, so look for it in the next couple months. I'm really into this story. I think I might cosplay as Keithley because he's hella cool, and also this whole story is just really awesome. I really like all the characters, and the world it's built inside is endlessly fascinating. Plus, I am a fan of the now recurring character of the Brushworm. He is super awesome. Well, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, the like and subscribe buttons are waiting just below this video to try to draw circles and accidentally turn your mother into stone. You can also follow my socials. That's the Facebook and Twitter that are down in that description box. They want the love just as much as I do. And if you feel like it, you can maybe throw some support my direction at the Patreon link that's here as well. You can maybe click on one of these videos for another one. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.